right, welcome back to Lagos Talks 91.3. The time is 2:37. My name is Ugoma. In the studio with me, I do have Kel and Trust. And it's time for the hot topic. Like I did mention, the topic is, should government provide employment benefit for the unemployed citizens in Nigeria? Now, one of the reasons why we chose this topic is when we look at the unemployment rate, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, it says that Nigeria's jobless rate or unemployment rate has rose to 33.3%. And to sort of like put this in context, we're looking at over 66 million population, either did nothing or worked for less than 20 hours a week. So this is a big issue because we know what unemployment can do in a society. We know the effect of unemployment. We know the causes of unemployment. But then we are trying to look at a solution as to how can we clamp on this unemployment. I mean, we do understand that to an extent, the government cannot completely resolve the unemployment issue, but we are expecting that they resolve, most of the issues with the unemployment rate. But let's start off with, what is your perspective on what causes unemployment in Nigeria? Before we start analyzing the specific topic on today, but what causes unemployment?
In Nigeria, I would say the government. Definitely low level of education. The fact that a lot of people are not employable, the fact that some people are lazy, the fact that there's no enabling environment for people to thrive. It is a lot of factors. I would definitely say, but the government, yes, is one of them, and the people as well.
Trust.
In addition to what Kel said, which all makes absolute sense, I think, in fact, infrastructural decadence, great on that list, because definitely. And further to that, we can also talk of policy. I don't know. I don't even know the adjective to give the bad policy.
Repressive policies.
Bad I think it's so terrible that bad is an understatement. So, those two for me is top of the list. Infrastructure and policies, critical.
What about, the financial crisis, or should I say recession? Now, remember, the advent of COVID-19 really affected the economy. I mean, We know there were so many organizations or so many companies that had to downsize.
Right.
And as a result, there were people who were let off. Even sometimes people will call in and complain about how they haven't gotten any palliatives from the government, how they can't even feed their families. So we know that recession and financial crisis can actually lead to unemployment rate. And COVID-19, unfortunately, even compounded and amplified that issue.
Right.
So with this effect that we have mentioned, what could possibly be a long sustainable solution to tackle unemployment rate?
Long and sustainable solution is definitely creating great infrastructure and also creating that environment for people to thrive. Listen, I tell people and I tell individuals who care to listen, we've gone past the stage where government promises you that, you're going to get jobs. There is no job anywhere to be created, right? The only thing that's available right now that is obtainable in developed countries, a situation where it creates environment for citizenry to provide that job for you, right? So they make great policies to ensure that startups, SMEs thrives. So if I empower one person, right, that one person can employ 4 people. So imagine I empower 50,000 people to start up an SME, and each of them probably employ 4 people, right? That is 200,000 people already out of the unemployment statistics, right? So it is simple. You might not be able to create jobs for everybody. We're not even asking you to create jobs nonetheless, but you should. But give us that environment to create jobs for ourselves, and it's still a problem. Do you get it?
I totally agree with Trust, because we can take, for example, the go-kadders and all of them.
Exactly.
You know, the government just came up with one policy, shut them down, lost so many, people lost their jobs. You know, it was ridiculous. You're a small business owner, you set up a place today, you think everything is going well. Next thing, the government is coming to bulldoze your building, saying that maybe it's on the road or they don't have permission here, like little things like that. Or they tax small businesses so bad that they can't afford to, that they have to lay some people off. So I totally agree that, you know, the environment is not conducive at all for people to employ other people. It's even hard enough for you to set up, you know, a business on your own. So it really is. Yeah. So even if we decide to educate everybody and make sure that everybody understands, you know, the value of working hard for your money, where are they going to work?
Exactly. Even the go-kadda example, that might just even be far-fetched. Imagine what just happened in the whole NIN and SIM registration issue. Do you know how many people lost job because they say stop selling SIMs?
And stop registration of SIMs.
In the middle of a pandemic where people needed jobs, people needed money. And you said people should stop selling SIMs and you take them out of jobs. That policy, not thinking policies through, or due to selfish interest or whatever, you just come up with a policy and knock millions of people out.
I mean, just look at the whole Twitter moving to Ghana issue.
Right.
Imagine that they had set up shop here now. How would they get SIM cards? Somebody complained that he brought in expatriates since December to work. Up till, you know, the week before they took off the ban, they couldn't get SIM cards.
Right.
So they were having to use their own lines to roam, and international charges are crazy.
Can you imagine?
All right, it's time for us to open the phone lines. And for those of you who have been listening, we're talking about, should government provide employment benefit for the unemployed citizens in Nigeria? We started off by giving you statistics, talking about the unemployment rate in Nigeria. And then we pivoted straight into the causes of unemployment, and we did mention, like Trust did mention, the infrastructure, the poor infrastructure state in Nigeria. Kel, you talked about poor education and other causes that might have led to the unemployment rate. But I want to ask you, what could possibly be some of the causes that has led to the unemployment rate? I know that the obvious one would be corruption, the government, but are there other causes that has led to the unemployment rate in Nigeria? Let's take this call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good afternoon. Who's on the line?
Everybody, once again, I'm going to talk.
Good afternoon. All right, let's hear you, Ebuka.
Just to the point. I hope they are listening, because it's just good as we're discussing about this very thing, and it be like a report for deaf ears, because we need to get things implemented. Trust, you are right. A lot of people say, don't teach me how to give message. So, giving us money or benefits to an extent or to some point will make us to be lazy, so to say, because if you put your hands together, you have this hope that you get something at the end of the month. Why not put things in place, say, solve the insecurity problem, for example, Goma.
Yes.
Electricity. The bills people pay, it's just like you pay for a service and you don't get what you paid for. There's so many things to put in place. Then the policies they put, it also goes back to this in every sector, electricity, exportation, so to say. The other day we were talking about NIP, whatever code, for they could export things. So there's a whole lot to put in place. Because if you say to give us this money like I started, it makes people seem to rely on the government, and the government, they will say they don't have money to do most of the things. So they should put on the neutral ground, put things in place. The best hand now, the police guys that went over there, maybe the best hand. Why can't we establish things that will put the best hand, even the lazy hand at work, so that they will get things to move the country flowing? Okay, want to enjoy that.
All right, Ebuka, thank you so much. The phone lines to call 0809-191-3913, 0809-222-0913. The WhatsApp number 0809-234-5913. The landlines 01515-0913 or 015151913. You can also tweet at Lagos Talks 913. All right, so let's cross over to the topic on ground, which is, should government provide employment benefit for those who are unemployed in Nigeria? Now, just to clarify what we mean by employment benefit, we're saying that can the federal government and the state government provide a source of income for jobless workers until they can find employment? Right? That's what we are talking about.
Exactly.
That is just to clarify what we mean. Exactly.
The
So the question now that we need to ask is this scheme or program attainable or far-fetched? Can actually the federal government / the state government provide such a program where they are paying unemployed citizens to be able to at least, go through the crisis or the murky waters until they get a job? Is it implementable?
To me, I think it's going to be very, half and half, in the sense that with every good thing, people will abuse it. People are just not going to look for jobs because, hey, the government is taking care of us. What I would suggest, as a way to work around it, is if a person has had a job, maybe in the last 6 months and suddenly got fired or got laid off, they can help the person for maybe a couple of months, or maybe that 6 months the person worked, they can send the person a stipend until the person gets back on their feet. But at the end of the day, giving unemployment benefits will not solve the crux of the problem with our unemployment rate in Nigeria. It's just like putting a band-aid on a wound that needs surgery. If we are going to be doing all of that, then the same energy, or twice as much as the same energy, should be directed towards fixing the unemployment problem. And like we mentioned earlier, educating people, increasing the quality of education, making the infrastructure, making this an economy to actually thrive in, so that the government doesn't have to do everything, but they just make sure that they make the atmosphere and the society and the communities and all of that, conducive enough for people to create jobs for others. So yeah, that's what I think.
Well said. Trust.
For me, I think it's close to being impossible in Nigeria. So clearly, right, just as, of course, what Kel said, really valid. But in addition, right, look at the UKs and United States of this world, There are a lot of factors that got them to the point where they could say, you know what, we want to help people that are unemployed. Key and top and crucial in that agenda is data. And Nigeria is not even close to curbing that gap of having data of people. How do you know who is unemployed or who is employed? In all cities, in all parts of the world, there is always that fraudulent activity. But the reason why it is difficult in the United States to pass you fraudulently is because they have your data. The moment you get employed, the people get noticed. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that data is critical. But further to that, it's still part of data, population, a lot of those stuff. But further to that, it's easy to say, let corruption die. And will corruption die? That is the next question. So we should ask. When Buhari came to power, he said that, we're going to feed school children. We're just talking of school children, Ugoma. We're not even talking of the general national populace. We say school children in public schools, Ugoma. Minute of the people. We've not been able to feed these children adequately for how many years now? I can't remember again, 4, 5 years, 6 years, whatever. We've not been able to feed them. Just school children. You now say this same government will give unemployed people. I bet we'll talk.
All right, let's open the phone lines. Do you think that providing employment benefit for those who are unemployed in Nigeria is attainable or implementable here in Nigeria? Do you think it's far-fetched, or is it something that we can see coming in the future? The phone lines to call 0809-234-5913. That's the WhatsApp number. 0809-191-3913, 0809-222-0913, and the landlines 01515-0913 or 01515-1913. You can also tweet at Lagos Talks 913. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ogoma.
Good afternoon. Who's on the line?
Good afternoon, this Ademi. Good afternoon to Kel and to Trusted Trust.
Hey, good afternoon.
All right, let's hear
my
you.
Lord. Yeah. It is not feasible now, and it is not attainable now for us to, at the government, to give fish rather than teaching people how to fish. I think Kel has just diced it for you, and I think that is what it is. We cannot compare ourselves right now with the United States, because in the United States, basically everybody works. Everybody. When you work, the work you pay what you call taxes, and the taxes go into a force which is now used for several purposes, the infrastructure and so on and so forth, plus the production, from internal resources. But when you have 60 million not working, where is the money going to come from that you're going to give to
exactly
them? So it is like a pipe dream. What I think is necessary, is possible, is for us to create employment for people. That is possible. Because when you take just one sector alone, you can create millions of jobs.
Exactly.
There are three levels of people in a capitalist economy. You have the household, you have the government, and you have the business. The business, and the government in our country are fused in the sense that the people who are in government are the same people who are in business. And so there is the policies that people make while they are in government is to, protect the businesses. So how can you now have production? And all the states of the Federation, that is 7 states, most of them are not even, the organizing production. They don't organize production. Everybody just goes there, sits there. At the end of the month, they go to Abuja, cap in hand, collect some money from oil, and then comes back home. Then the federal, rather than, create job, for example, petroleum industry alone, when you have four refineries, they are not working. But you now throw the jobs, you throw it back to other places, and they are producing it over there. You create employment over there while your own people are just sitting here, doing nothing. There's a lot to say, but it can be done. We can create employment. Agriculture, you take transportation, I can list millions of jobs, millions. And nobody is going to be idle. Even in your broadcasting, you go to public broadcasting alone, I can create thousands and thousands of jobs there. So that is the way it works. If the government is ready, we will create jobs. They will not be in government and also be in business. But all the businesses you see, transportation, airline, and so on, people in business are also, and in government are also there. So how do you make policy to be able to create a functional society? That is the issue. And then stop sending police to what do you call it, Somalia. We don't even have enough. What is all that?
All right, we have to let you go.
Public relations.
All right, thank
you. Stop it.
All right. Thank you so much. Keep your calls and your messages as well as your tweets coming in. The question is, should government provide employment benefit for the unemployed? Sorry?
Yeah, employment
benefit for the unemployed in Nigeria. Is it is it achievable or attainable, or is it far-fetched? This one is coming from Mazi Emeka. In a situation whereby you have 80% of the population unemployed and 20% employed, when you begin to play employment benefits to the unemployed, that means you will use most of your resources to pay for unproductivity.
Exactly.
This one is coming from Chike. Good afternoon. When government even said they were given 774,000 jobs, I said it was a scam. Now, government says people haven't been paid 20,000 because of lack of BVN. Didn't government take this into cognizance before employing people in rural areas? I don't trust this government to help the unemployed ones. All right, thank you for that. So, because you did mention that at the end of the day, when the government is not creating an enabling environment, that is one of the reasons why unemployment issue would continue, to linger for so long.
Yeah.
Now, and I also believe that when we talk about this program, or this scheme rather, we have highlighted how it could be expensive. There's a possibility of it being so expensive.
Right.
And if it's expensive, who then funds it? Is it from the taxpayers that we fund? Or would they then have to create like a budget for it? And you remember that when we talk about budget corruption, we say that, the government have been found wanting to pad different budgets.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, even if this scheme might be attainable, in a way, some people would argue that it then creates some kind of corruption.
Yeah, another avenue for corruption. But the thing is, no matter what we try to avoid or what we try to build, if there's corruption, there will be corruption.
Right.
We don't need to say, if we introduce this new thing, it'll, encourage corruption.
Because it's already there.
Made reference to the school feeding program. We heard the amount of billions that they assigned to it, yet they couldn't account for it.
I think they're still investigating.
Exactly. So if there's going to be corruption, there's going to be corruption. Plus, I think the money shouldn't come from taxpayers. I think there should be a budget, allocated for it. But like I said, it won't really work because it's just like putting a Band-Aid on a surgery type wound.
Yeah.
Trust? Just like Mr. Adeyemi rightly said, right? So the funding is another critical issue. Most people will jump and say, Nigeria has a lot of money. We have a lot of money. But hey, Nigeria also have a lot of things to cater for. Boko Haram is one issue. That one is another issue. That one is another issue. The truth is, originally, in an ideal sense, it comes from taxes. But there are a lot of people to tax, so it is easy to tax them. If you take 2% from, let's say, 100 million, let's assume we had about 150 or 180 million people working, it would have been easy to tax these people and it makes sense. But now we have just 20 million people. How do you want to tax them? Little wonder why the government said, we need to increase tax. We need to do this. Then they say, okay, the tax we are paying is too small. Why they think it's too small is because there are little people paying taxes.
True.
When little people pay taxes, you see it as small. The goal, the aim is not to increase the tax for these little people, is to ensure that more people pay taxes. How do you ensure more people pay taxes? Cover the loopholes that the big men used to avoid taxes, number one. Number two, create the employment that creates the job so that you can tax them. When you give them, then you can tax them. You can't tax what you don't give. If you give us, then you take from us. But when you say the 1 million or 2 million, 20 million people that you manage to give 20,000 or 33,000, you now to increase their taxes, you are worsening the situation for these people, and they're just slavery.
Yeah, and just to summarize what you did mention, going back to tax, at the end of the day, if we talk about the program, some people would argue that it will then discourage people or the unemployed to get jobs. And if the unemployed refuse to get jobs, then how do people pay their tax? So it's a cycle of frustration, so to speak, in this issue.
The unemployed most definitely will most likely not be unencouraged to get jobs.
That's what I'm saying. So they won't get a job, therefore they can't even pay tax. And if they can't pay tax, of course it's going to affect the accumulation of tax that maybe a state gets.
Provide the situation, let them get first, and let them say they not get.
So at the end of the day, yes, we are looking for a sustainable, solution to solve the unemployment rate. But at the end of the day, what could possibly be that one sustainable solution? We've argued that, yes, we think that such a scheme can actually help unemployed people in Nigeria, but is there a social consequence to it? Which we've argued that there is, because it's going to discourage the unemployed to get a job, because whereby you're getting incentive, why do you even need to even get a job? You might just just survive with the incentive.
It's not enough now.
Even if
it's more change.
If they even want to do something like that, it's be better it's done for a select period of time.
There's a deadline to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that after this one, you're not getting any more money, so you need to look for a job.
But on a flip, countries that do it like forever, how do they go about it then?
I don't know.
That's it, and you understand? That is where data comes in. Because in the same country, people will get job, maybe they say, I'm unemployed, because there's no data to show that. Oh, you don't get job now.
Yeah, no central data. Yeah. All right, let's take this last call. Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very much. I called back.
Ebuka, good afternoon. Let's hear you.
Yeah.
The elderly ones, you borrowed from pension fund, and you are giving this money to unemployed guys. And at the same time, your environment is so toxic to the situation that people are creative, are going out, companies are going out of your country. You have problems at your feet, at your hands, even all over. You understand the part line money will talk and say that we don't need to talk down about the country. When you see the reality, when we talk about the reality, well, like say, because of the things we say, that's why these guys are seeing it and going out. The pension you meant to pay the retired ones, many of them are there. They don't receive. Even when they receive, they start to cry, beg, shout, get. So why not use the money to do for pension? Then every other money that is meant to, okay, for this youth or whatever thing, use it to create a hope. The Twitter, like the other was talking about this very Twitter stuff. They went to Ghana. Create a hope that these guys will come and work for them. Creative. Then make another
thank you so much for calling. So I think this is where we have to wrap up on today's hot topic, which is, should government provide employment scheme or program or benefit for those who are unemployed in Nigeria? Right. Now, before we give our final words, what would be your last, take on this, hot topic? Hill or Trust?
My last take. My last take for this hot topic will be fix up. Fix up, fix up. We need to fix our country for things to work. There are ways you fix up and it becomes autopilot. Let's get to that point where we are an autopilot and everyone can do things right. That is where we want to get to. And to get there, we need to fix up.
I absolutely agree. Nigeria is not the best place to do business right now. When, these government people say, ease of doing business exists in Nigeria, I laugh because I'm wondering what Nigeria are they talking about? The other day on the dish, we spoke about ShopRite, packing up shop, and everything. And they are not the first company to actually leave Nigeria because it's not easy doing business here. Something as basic as electricity will take half of your overhead. It doesn't make any sense that half of your profit you're packing to pay for diesel and all of that. It's ridiculous, So I think whatever would end this employment rate is that look out for your people. The ones that manage to go to school, they have no jobs to go to because there are not enough jobs to go around, or quality jobs to go around. And you can't expect people to help to provide jobs if you're not going to help them provide an enabling atmosphere, enabling society in which to do so.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kel and Trust, for being part of the hot topic, as well as our listeners. Thank you so much. And I think just to summarize everything, yes, we are expecting the federal government or the government in general to rise up to its responsibility to ensure that, the unemployment rate, begins to drop, whereby we see more people getting employed. It's quite sad to say that the unemployment rate has gotten to 33.3%. And that is more than 60 million population in Nigeria. That is really sad. So it goes back to say that the government needs to create an enabling environment where people can thrive. I mean, it says that even 60% of our population are, the young, vibrant citizens, meaning that we have, people who are willing to go and do something, go and, create a meaningful life for themselves. But it starts with an enabling environment. Yes, we understand that there's so much that the government can do. The government cannot do everything. The government cannot provide everything. But we are expecting an enabling environment where people can go forth and thrive on their own.
Right.
So yes, I think it's good for us to have this kind of discussion. It's like a starter conversation where people can just chime in and bring their perspective. But thank you again. Of course, the hot topic comes up every Wednesday at 2:30. So please make it a date with us where we get to dissect so many topical issues happening, especially here in Nigeria.